carrying something. Right. It's a squirrel.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the first of a brand new series all about hunting with air guns. I'm here with my compadre Terry Doe, the legend himself.
Oh yeah.
And we're at a very close family friend's livery. They've got horses in all the paddocks here, as you can probably see, and they've got a rabbit problem. So this evening we're going to be shooting rabbits, but it's not just any rabbit shoot, because we're going thermal.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a different purpose for you for this one. This isn't just a look how clever we are, we're going to knock over 35 rabbits. What this is to take the highest of tech and to see just how easy it is to use. Now, neither Dave nor I are absolutely au fait with thermal, either the spotters or the scopes, and we took delivery of this stuff deliberately yesterday. We went down the range, put it on the rifles. We'd never seen it before, we'd never used it before. We put it on the guns, we got them zeroed, we did some intensive training with it, and then we came back up here and did a few ranging exercises in daylight, so we know what we're doing. The whole purpose of this video is not just to show you us shooting rabbits, is to prove whether or not the high-tech stuff can be picked up and used just like any other hunt.
Right, so we've got the gear out of the car. Before we start talking about this stuff, you may notice what we're wearing. Terry's got his hunting clubber on, and I've got a bright red t-shirt. Now it doesn't really matter because we're going to be shooting in pitch blackness, but there is a good reason. I always travel to my perms wearing everyday clothes, and all my hunting clubber is in the back of the car here. I've shot rabbits for most of my life. That's mainly what I shoot when I'm hunting. And there's been a number of occasions where I've been laying in a field, lovely daylight today, started shooting rabbits, it's got dark, and then the mist's come down and it's started to rain, and the rabbits are still coming out. Maybe they're thirsty, I don't know, but they kept coming out. I keep shooting them. There's no way I'm going to leave that field until the rabbits stop coming out, and there's nothing worse than driving home for 40 miles when you're absolutely soaking wet. So having a spare change of clothes in the car, it makes for a good drive home.
I just get wet.
So, onto this gear then. Yeah. What have you got there?
Right, what I've got is a Hellion 2XQ. Now, it's a chunky piece of kit, and you look at it and you see all these buttons and things all over it, and the last resort of all men is to read one of these, but it's comprehensive and it's clear, step by step, easy to follow. You see all these buttons here and you think, oh, that's a bit complicated. It really isn't. You turn it on, you've got your up and down arrows to scroll through the menu. You can tune in sort of focally the image at the back end. You can record, which is handy. You'll be seeing footage that we've recorded through this. And you can swap from white hot to black, and you can reverse the image. I prefer white. Do you?
Yeah, I prefer the white. Although the red hot's quite good because that picks up the heat signatures really well at distance, I find.
The great advantage of this is once you flip that you switch it on and you're in scanning mode, you can cover a field in seconds.
Yeah,
absolutely in seconds.
That's the joy of these.
Not even minutes.
This is the Pulsar Action. This is the XQ35. I've used one of these before, luckily. It's basically a more compact version of this one. I think this one's slightly higher resolution, but it is. I mean, that literally fits in your pocket. You know, take the cap off, and like Terry said, you can adjust your focus at the back here, and you've got a focus ring at the front. Yeah. I think you've got one there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so XQ38.
Yeah.
You see, I spotted that. Very much younger colleague didn't. But it's the same sort of principle. What you don't get again with this, you're not going to be picking out blades of grass. You're not going to be seeing the rabbit's whiskers. You're going to be seeing the rabbit, and that will direct you to whether a field is worth continuing with or you need to move on to the next one. If you want to rinse a property, this is the way to do it.
When you're out with a lamp and you're using a lamp to spot, it spooks the rabbits and you've got to wait there 20 minutes,
Yep.
25 minutes for them to come back out again. With this, you can be deadly quiet. You can just go like that, bump, 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 there's 3 there, and just make your way up there.
It's a big point. It's a big point I'd like to make. This will give you, and your natural hunting skills, your natural fieldcraft, will give you another level. What it won't do, and you need to remember this, don't care how much you pay for them, you can pay thousands and thousands for them, it won't replace basic hunting skills, like getting the right side of the wind, like not clumping about. These rabbits, they're in contact with the ground, they communicate through slamming their feet on the ground, they can feel you walking about. If you take liberties with them, it doesn't matter how clever you've got at spotting them, they'll go. Yeah. So you don't think this is a free pass to shooting rabbits. It isn't.
No.
It's a much easier way of spotting them and focusing your hunt, but it doesn't replace your core skills. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good thing. You should never do away with the core skills of hunting, and these don't do that. Right, should we get the rifles?
Yeah, I'll get my camo gear on.
We're here to shoot rabbits, and there are 3 main reasons to do that. The least popular is the fact that they can undermine property, walls, drains, things like that. The burrows can cause things to collapse, and that causes a big problem. The main reason for shooting rabbits is crop damage. Rabbits can absolutely decimate fields of growing crops, especially seedlings, brassicas, all that sort of stuff, corn. They can absolutely annihilate it. And the third reason, and the reason we're here today, is right down there at my feet. What you've got there is a couple of rabbit scrapes that are developing into something fairly significant. Now what they're looking for is little rootlets, little tubers, anything they can find that they like to eat. And the reason they do it along the fence line is usually the mowers can't get that close to the fences, so it's left a little bit undisturbed. You get a different sort of pattern of growth and you get more weeds and natural wild plants, and the rabbits dig there. The earth isn't as compact usually, and it's not too much of a problem when you've got a rabbit scrape, even a deep one, right on the fence line. It can be, but not usually. Your problem comes when the scrapes and the burrows occupy the same territory as a horse. Now horses can be fairly freaky things. Anything can spook them. An owl, a pigeon, a piece of paper blowing across the paddock. If they start galloping and one of them plunges his foot down a rabbit hole, literally a rabbit can kill a horse like that. That horse's leg can break, and that's the end of it. So that's the main reason we're here, and the main reason Dave will be coming back to keep an eye on it once we've done a bit of good tonight.
So onto the hardware that we've got on top of the rifles now. Thomas Jacks, who supplied this gear for us to use, actually sent it all to me, so I got the pick of the bunch and I chose the best scope.
I was perfectly happy about that because Dave needs superior hardware,
Yeah.
whereas I've got talent, you see, to lean on. So over to you, Dave.
You have won quite a lot of competitions, Terry. So
30 years ago I did, but go on.
I've got the Thermion 2 XQ38 on top here. What have you got on top?
I've got the XM30. Looks Pulsar XM30 looks very, very like an ordinary scope. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you would think that was a perfectly normal 30mm bodied scope, but it isn't. It's filled with all sorts of stuff that can be, it has to be said, it can be a bit intimidating until you actually try it. There's the first barrier.
Yeah.
Give it a go. If you know somebody who's got one, or if you can go to a shop, let them scroll you through. There are more controls on this thing than you'll ever need. But once you've set them up to your eyes and your situation and your preference, 90% of them you don't touch.
No.
You don't need them, do you?
No, you don't. And they're exactly the same principle as the thermal spotters that we've just shown you. Same menus inside. You've literally got 3 buttons on the top here, and then there's a button on the side wheel that you use to scroll through the menus and actually set stuff. Zeroing in, which we spent what, an hour between us yesterday down at the range before we you know, and then we really laid it on and put about 3 hours hard grafting just to make sure we knew what we were doing ranges wise. Yeah, to set them up it's pretty simple. You just press the blue button to turn it on, press the side button, and that brings you up a menu down the left hand side. This dial here rotates so you can scroll up and down the menu. Press the button again to select what you want to select. So you select 0, and it brings you up your crosshairs. So you've got multiple choices for crosshairs and reticles and stuff in there as well. Bring up your crosshair, you take your shot, first shot, and you see where that lands. Now ideally, we were shooting off bag yesterday. If you've can stick it in a vise, even better, or just try and shoot off a bag or a bipod like I was doing. Once you take your first shot, you then move a red crosshair that's also overlaid on the main screen. You move that across to where you shot, and then you hold that side button in for 2 seconds, and then your whole reticle inside just shifts like that, and then recenters, and that's, you know, that's brought your centre of shot to where it should be. And it literally took us,
I will tell you exactly,
5 minutes.
It took me twice as long to put the scope mounts on than it did to zero this.
Yeah,
so
it is easy.
It is that easy. But the overall message, we went from a little bit of techno fear to total familiarity in about, what, 30 minutes or so?
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
And there is nothing to be afraid of. And trust me, I am not technical. He's a bit of a boy genius, but I'm not. And there is nothing to be afraid of. I could teach my dad to use this.
Yeah.
No problem at all. This is practical, useful kit, which, again, all the aficionados out there, the Mick Garveys of this world, Eddie Jones, that have been using this stuff for ages, will be laughing down their sleeve at the old boys who are being surprised by this. But there are plenty of people out there that regard a pre-charged pneumatic as too complicated.
Yeah.
So this will frighten them to death, but they shouldn't be. Do not be afraid of this technology. It's practical, it's usable, it's tough, and it's sensible. It was designed by people far cleverer than we are to be used by everyone, and that's a really important thing to know about it.
Well, talking about pre-charged pneumatics, I see we've both got the same rifle.
We certainly have both got the same rifle, and this is my personal one.
You've been using that for
This is my
a
personal
very long
one.
time.
This is the S510 regulated ultimate sporter.
From Air Arms.
From Air Arms. It's what my biggest thing, everyone will tell you, my biggest thing is gun fit, because we are not the normal human. We are not the standard size human. And it's the most ridiculous notion that the most intuitive, the most reactionary piece of equipment you'll ever use, a rifle, is supplied in a size built for somebody of 5'10". These are, what are you, 6'7", something like that?
6'6".
6'6", I'm 6'4". So they're not going to fit us. At this level, you should never compromise if you can avoid it.
No.
And this stops compromise. I have an adjustment on the back end, on the butt plate, to adjust the pull length. This thing swivels around everywhere, so it lines me up perfectly with whatever scope I'm using, and the butt plate goes up and down. It's regulated. I'm not a massive fan of regulators. I don't think they're an absolute requirement, but ultra precision, ultra confidence, regulators, brilliant. Side lever, virtually effortless, 10-shot rotary removable magazine.
I think we should tell everyone as well that we're both shooting 177. I mean, I know it's a never-ending debate through the magazine, on social media, everywhere you look. Is 177 better than 2.2? Blah blah blah. Everyone's got their own opinions.
177 is better than 2.2.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've done a lot of hunting, so has you.
Rats or feral pigeons.
Yeah.
I'm saying at legal limit, 177 is better than 2.2.
It just gives you a lot more options, doesn't it? You've got a flat trajectory.
Yeah, it delivers. If the pellet, either 177 or 2.2 is delivered, they'll do the same job.
Yeah.
It's easier to deliver 177. We're going to go and have a cup of tea or something like that and wait for the
Before we do
sun
that,
to
what
go
about
down.
pellets? What are you using? Because good thing when you're hunting, always take 2 mags.
Yeah.
I always have 2 loaded mags, one in the rifle, one in my pocket, because you never know. I mean, last night, what did we see? 15, 20 rabbits here.
Yeah.
You know, tonight there could be 30, there could be 3. Every night's different on all the perms that I've ever shot at. One night you'll get 1, another night you'll get 9. So it's always worth having 20 shots with you, because you just don't know. I've only been shooting this rifle for, what, about 2.5 months. And I've found these Golden Trophy FT heavies. I like using a heavy pellet. These are, I think they're 9 grains. And this rifle absolutely loves them.
Never forget, these pellets cost a penny each or whatever they cost. All this technology, the thousands of pounds worth you're seeing here, means nothing at all. It's all on the head of those little pellets.
Yeah. It is worth making a note as well about, I mean, the field pellets and the ones I'm using, they're just domed pellets. You know, you don't need to go all gimmicky when you're hunting. You don't need pointed pellets. No. You don't need copper coated pellets. Just find a decent domed lead pellet that your rifle loves or your barrel loves and stick with them. Your
obligation is accuracy, consistency.
Yeah.
So you know that wherever you put that crosshair, that's where that pellet's going to go. Right, now I really do need a cup of tea.
Yeah, me too. Well, we've got about an hour before that sun dips down and we need to be in position.
Yeah, right, let's clear off.
Cool.
Alright, here we are. There's my target, a little bit concealed at the moment. It's a bit light. It's a bit low, in fact it's virtually broad daylight. There were 2 in the paddock. But you see, even though I can't see that with the naked eye, or you'd never see it with a scope, there it is. Technically, I could take that, but I don't want to yet. I prefer he came out. He's just moved off. He moved to the right screen. There he is, though. I can still track him. That's the wonderful thing about this piece of equipment. That isn't bad, is it? You would never see that with a scope, ever. The important thing this is giving to me now is if he moves into that gap there, or if he pops over and jumps down there, I'm on him because I know where he is. Look, there you are, you can see him twitching about. Finger is well clear of the trigger at the moment, but it soon won't be if I get a clear shot at him. That's the first rabbit of the evening. Perfect size for eating, absolutely spot on. Perfectly placed headshot. Bit of a formality, 33 yards, rested. Just proves that the night vision gear with thermals works. I picked the gear up yesterday, saw it for the first time, and next day we got a dead rabbit. So it just shows what we set out to do, to prove that this is practical gear and that anybody can make a job with it. Can't see anything. No. What's he doing? He's lying down still. Now I know for a fact there's one by the edge of that board, so steady the feet, steady the hands, there he is, up, 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 got him. That's absolutely quite mad. You can actually see the pellet through the scope, and then you can see a red dot on impact. It's pretty impressive. Adjust the glasses, pull the rifle in, just in front of that post so I know it's 32 yards. And there you go. Doesn't get any more clinical than that.
Well, that wasn't bad for a couple of hours, was
That'll
it?
do, won't it?
Yeah.
That'll do. I'll tell you what, it's job done as far as proving that this stuff's practical gear.
Absolutely. I'm more than impressed, to be honest with you. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
It was far more practical, far easier, very clinical, I have to say.
Absolutely.
And I learned a couple of things. I learned you get the old night blindness thing, the same as you do with night vision. If you keep your eye to the scope, so be aware of that.
Yeah.
If you've just dropped a rabbit and you want to go out and retrieve him, one of your eyes certainly isn't going to be functioning the same as the other one. We kept these scopes running full on. They've been running for 2.5 hours now and they're only on half battery, so it's looking between 4 and 5 hours.
Yeah.
But you'd go all night if you switched them on and off.
That's it.
And
if you use them like they're supposed to be used, switch them off and use your spotters.
And we were recording as well, so that's got to be draining some. So they've got a quick start function there, so you're not waiting for them to warm up for about 30 seconds.
Impressive.
These are really, really easy to use. They're not cheap. They're not there to replace day scopes. They are a specialised piece of kit, but my God, what they can do within that specialised area is nothing short of amazing. I started off as a bit of a sceptic, and
I think we've both been
I think we've been re-educated.
converted.
Yeah, that's
well,
all the proof you need, really.
that about wraps it up. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like and subscribe to us, and we'll see you again on another hunting trip.
We'll be back.